Okay, let's work out on for example, if I just go to my admin panel and I have orders, now we want these orders, okay, from checkout. These orders are, if they submit the orders, I also want to see them in admin panel, and we will arrange this page because this is not good. This is just sample, and we will make arrange it. Okay, so first we need to say if the user is not logged in, he should not has to access this checkout page. So if we just go to the checkout controller, and then we simply need to add the auth method here, constructor, and then we can say this should has middleware called auth. That means if the user is not logged in, it will redirect us to the login page, which is not available here. I think we was added this before. Anyways, okay, so the user need to be logged in. Okay, if I just log in the Billy and then the password, there it is. It redirects us to profile page. Okay, now we can just access the checkout page. There it is. And we can also say, for example, if I just open the checkout index, or and we can say something like, for example, if the cart instance default content is equal to 0, that means show us empty card, please add some products. And else, in our else case, we need to show all the products if there is any, right? And we can say and if. Okay, so let's go ahead and reload the page. There it is. This is now you cannot access the form because the card is empty. So let's go ahead and add some products, and then again the product has been added. If we just go to checkout, there it is, right? Okay, now what next? For example, if I want to say, okay, wait, still we cannot access this. Basically it is the controller is confused that it's not finding 0. Okay, so we have to say less than 0, and that works great. Okay, so we say if for example, if someone fill this form and click on complete order, we should have to see these orders in our orders model, right? So go to checkout controller, and inside here, for example, we need to say save orders. Okay, and if you just open up our navigate premium, and if you just open up our tables, and then we have orders and then order items. Basically our order has many order items. So how we can do it? Insert into orders table and insert into order items table, right? So let's do it. So what we can do, first we need to call the order model here, and yeah, we need to import it in the top of the here. Okay, top of the controller, app/order class, right? So it works. And then what should we see? Say for example here, basically first we need to make it inside a variable called order, and then we say, hey, just go ahead and create the order. And what we have inside our order table, we just have user ID, right, date, address, and then the status, and by default the status would be 0. So let's just do it. User ID, and that should be equal to auth, the same user who is logged in, auth user, and then ID. And what about address or date? we can use the carbon library, and then we can say now means the perfect or currently date, the date right now. And then we have address, which we'll get from the request. And finally we have status that should be equal to 0. Okay, now we need to include this carbon facade here. Okay, carbon basically. Okay, it's not a facade, I think it's a package that's already installed in Laravel. Okay, the orders has been created. Now we have to insert the order items. To do this, we have to for each the instance. Okay, and then we say, for example, how many contents do we have in our cart, in our shopping cart. So we have to count them first, or we can say the content as the item, just for each them as the item. Okay, and then what should we do is we use order items. Okay, we need to import this at the top, use app order items. Okay, great, and they will use it. Of course it will also create it, and this time what it contains basically, right? If you just go to our navigate and then open up our order items, and it contains order ID, product ID, quantity, and then price. Just add them. Order ID. Okay, order ID should be equal to this order ID right now here, order ID. And what about the product ID? That should be equal to item model ID, right? And then what about quantity? That should be equal to item quantity. And what next? The price, of course, item price. Okay, nice. Okay, it's already in use. We just close this, and finally let's go ahead and check it. I hope it works. Let's just fill the form, and let's add the card number and give it a try. I hope it works. Oops, I think we do not have any item in our shopping cart, so let's just add the item, fill the form, and give it a shot. Okay, we just received the Stripe payment, and if we just go back to admin panel and reload the page, okay, I think we just received the order. What about the order items? So if we just go back and refresh, I think we have just received the orders but not order items. So let's just check our controller, what's wrong with it. This is the instance. Okay, this is basically what we're doing. Okay, so let's just make this 1 instead of 0. Okay, this works. Now let's just focus on problem. Why we are not getting the order items? This is our control. Okay, the problem is basically if we just go to our order items model, we just need to tell the product it fillable to, for example, because we need to tell the order ID, because it's not finding the order ID. So simply we can do protected guarded, and we'll just pass a simple array. And if we just go back and reload the page, let's say for example something like that, it's kind of successful. And if you just refresh Stripe, okay, we just received it here. And what about our admin panel? Let's just reload the page. There it is, we just received. And if you just check order items here, still we are not, I think, receiving it. Yeah, this could be the problem. That instance, the basically shopping cart is destroying before completing the order. It could be the problem. Okay, let's just go back and completely reload the page from checkout. And then if you just go back, and I just remove the functionality inside that we are checking if the order item is less than 0. I just removed it because of some reason it was not functioning correctly. I'll just sort it. Okay, so if you just add a product, of $2,000, and then want to add polyester bag $2,050, and go to add to cart and proceed to checkout. Let me just add my details and give it a shot. Okay, great. Give it a refresh to Stripe. There it is. And if you just open up Navigate and refresh, there it is. Now we're just receiving the orders. And if you just go back and reload the admin panel, there it is. We just received orders, but there's a problem. You can see we are just receiving orders in a inline way. For example, the Lenovo and then polyester bag and then the quantities. If you just go back to details, and then we can only see one detail. So we will just solve these issues in our order products and the user tab and in user profile page. We'll just sort them in our next video, right?